50-50, not because it's 50, you attract 50% shadow, 50% light, not because of that. It's because of the governing structure of societies does not, it's in a conflict of interest with soul growth. That is why it's so much more difficult. The game would be much easier. 50-50 is piece of cake when you have society that is structured that facilitates the soul growth rather than try to suppress it. That's why it increases the difficulty level, and only very few people who can thrive in this game without selling their souls, because it's very important. Because if you sell your soul, of course, it's much easier. You know what I'm saying? And selling your soul is just being part of the corporate machine, is selling your soul. And minimizing that influence upon you will make you feel much more free. Like, if, just as an example, if you get the government and the corporations and banks out of your life as much as possible, you will have way more freedom and much more fun, and the time to cater the soul growth, you see. So that's my little message. One thing I have to say is, for example, sometimes also people say, narcissist, or they really use many words to describe one thing, but it's a person that is still learning love, opening their heart. And so, because they don't have their own source, they have to drag from other people. So then they call them energy vampires, right? They can't help it. That's just the way they function at the time, because they don't feel safe opening their heart and blah blah blah. But what I'm trying to say with this, the energy drainage, right? If you are empathetic to this kind of person, then it means you have vulnerability, and then the person can't drain your energy. That's your potential to learn some wisdom and fuse those vulnerabilities, right? Because stealing energy is not fair. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. And then when these energy vampires, narcissists, whatever you want to call them, have no gullible fools around them, and they cut off from that, now they have to go within and figure out and find their own light. Now they starting to learn that opening the heart is the way, not stealing and sucking energy from other people. That opening the heart, that energy flows. And so anyway, so it all happens naturally. But you may say, like, why there's so many people are like that? Why there's so many people are afraid to? Well, because eventually, like, you can say, all right, this person is sucking or attempting to suck your energy, and say, okay, what sucked the energy out of this person? Then you may say, like, well, maybe it's the family member. Okay, where is this family member? Maybe it's the boss of the family member. And then you can keep on tracing, and you can trace down to the biggest energy vampire that it sucks all the energy out, and this is why they don't have their own energy, and this is why they have to steal it from you. You see what I mean? And then if you let it steal it from you, you're gonna have to steal from somebody, But if you have your own source and you can protect it, boom, access denied, motherfucker. Over here, we work in a different way. It's where the energy is reciprocated. And so you cut off the access. And well, you can say like who's this biggest fucking devil that sucks the energy out of all of other people, like and the answer to that is the system, the laws and regulations that are unnatural, that are corrupt. That's where you're gonna end up if you really investigate it. That's why you can say like, well, if you find the biggest energy drainer on the planet and you just chop their head off, that the energy drain is gonna stop? No, because they mechanized it. They represented that code, that corrupt code, and they integrated that in a society. I mean, it would be interesting because there's a lot of the corruption of American society started aggressively being done in early 1900s from the corruption of the currency and Federal Reserve, centralized banking, and the food industry as well, and food and drug industry as well. This is where all these bullshit laws were starting to creep up that produce this unnatural way of life and fighting the natural way of life, and calling it pseudoscience and whatever. And then you have like all these institutions like FDA, when people are trusting them, where they're the ones who are putting the regulations that are all corrupt. They're the ones who are letting the food to contain, frankly, poison. Doesn't have any kind of value, and so then it's conflict of interest. These corporations then are incorporating the laws that are corrupt in order to sell the more product for the least nutrient value possible. And it's a conflict of interest. The health and FDA has a conflict of interest. Isn't it ironic? The very organization that's portraying itself to protect you is actually poisoning you. But then you say like, whose fault is this? It's the code that's been written in early 1900s. You gotta go back all the way and rewrite the code of the entire United States of America, because that's the dominant empire right now. It's not that it could not have been a land of the dreams and a beautiful country. It could have been, and it can still be, but you gotta fucking rewrite the code. You have to rewrite the code, and you gotta have somebody with the major fucking balls that rewriting that code would destroy a lot of corporations that are not supposed to be there in the first place. To me, the only corporation that should exist is the one that handles hardware, not the software, not the food, not the drugs, nothing, none of that shit. Because you know what happens when they have jurisdiction over food and drugs and shit like that. Corporations are meant to only produce technology, because corporation is a system, is a mechanized system, and therefore they're good at producing more systems, more technology, but they're shitty at producing happiness. They're horrible. They're actually draining your energy. They're not producing, not giving to you. And of course, it's a lot of it is also being corrupting the natural law. For example, a lot of people like Bill Gates gain a lot of money with no merit. It was only the control of information, and nobody should control the information. There should be authors of it, but nobody owns it, because the universe doesn't exist and nobody fucking owns information. All information is available for free, and some information has authors, of course, authors should be reimbursed, but not the owners. There shouldn't be any kind of owners, any kind of any kind of industry, any kind of corporation that deals with software manipulation. And even like I'm talking about Uber, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, fucking Airbnb, Amazon, even. All of these are supposed to be decentralized. None of these supposed to have a head, so to speak. Not supposed to be run by the corporations, because it's a conflict of interest of happy life. The direct conflict of interest. And see, that's why people are living and accepting these things. Like they live in the world, and it's like they always seen this, and so there must be normal. Even though if they really could investigate how fucked up the code is, they could see that, man, you could live in a much better society if the code was different. And right now, when we have technologies like decentralized technologies, blockchain, stuff like that, that code could be decentralized. The laws could be decentralized. Some of the laws are universal, so you don't really have to have a boss because they are universal. You write the code that is a code and a law of consciousness, not in conflict with the natural law. But if you're in a conflict with the natural law, you're creating the branch. And so if you're creating the branch, that branch is supposed to just handle only technology, but not the humans. Because if it's going to handle the humans, it's going to start looking at humans as technology. And it's going to start, and then it's a conflict of interest with your soul, because the system will want, naturally, that's the code, to produce a robot and treat you as such. And of course, that drains your fucking energy, that drains your soul. And the people who are mostly involved in it and who are controlling the most money are the biggest energy suckers. Because they're the ones right now have a lot of influence, a lot of unearthed influence, not because of the actual intelligence merit, but just the intellectual manipulation. And now they will only take decisions that are mechanical, because now you gave them power, because you allow them to control the software, control the information. And if they're good at controlling information, then what they're going to do with that power? Control more of the information, which then you become an information for them. You're just a statistics. This is why Bill Gates is so, for them it's so easy to say. It's like, oh yeah, it's sometimes this product will cause death, but that's just part of it. That's and I don't know, like 8% mortality rate, and he talks so nonchalant because he never been human all his life. He didn't have to. There was no pressure for him to become a human, because the reward was coming from him intellectually manipulating the system, not creating anything of real value. And so that's why, like, I don't think that Bill Gates should have that much influence. I don't think that Jeff Bezos should have that much influence. Not Mark Zuckerberg. None of these people have a real, true intelligence. They have intellect, but no intelligence. And the society incentivized for these people to appear, because the code, like I told you at the very beginning, it's a corrupt code. So anyway, I got off the topic. I'm gonna split into two videos, because I talked about consciousness in the first part and society in the second part. But you get the point. Okay? So you can chill, like, don't think that you can change anything until the code of society is changed. And the only thing you can do is to write another one. Just like what I'm trying to do. I live by a different code. And I'm I'm gonna do my best to make this decentralized way of living, and anyone who wants to live this type of lifestyle according to this code of the society, they can. And that's all you can do. Start living according to this code, because it's so much more gangster. Mic drop. Peace. See you in the next one.